Hi, everybody. I'm here with Kate Booher, and we are talking about recruiter enablement. So, Kate, first of all, thank you for joining me. Give us a quick introduction to you and tell us a bit about your background.
Yep. Thank you, Adam, for having me. So I'm Kate Booher. I'm the head of Global Talent Acquisition Enablement for Takeda Pharmaceuticals. I'm based here in the U.S. At our office in Boston, Massachusetts. And I've been with Takeda for 13 and a half years. I'm coming up on my 14-year anniversary with the organization. I've spent my entire career in talent acquisition, both as an individual contributor, recruiter, and then working my way up into a people leader, and then into my current role, which I moved into back in December 2021.
Great. Okay, so you must be getting like medals and trophies and prizes and things because you've been at the company for quite some time.
I have, and I have to say I've really enjoyed my time with the organization. I actually started at our office in the Chicago area, which used to be our U.S. headquarters, and then relocated out here to Boston back in September 2016. Was an opportunity to stay with the company and also be closer to home. Closer to family in my home state of Massachusetts. But I've really enjoyed the time with Takeda. I have professionally grown, stretched, and been provided with so many opportunities that I haven't had at previous organizations. I have a lot of respect for the organization's values and culture. And, candidates, when I carried requisitions, would often ask me what my favorite thing was about Takeda. And I would always say the people. I would always say the people. That first and foremost. I'm still close friends with folks who've left the organization, but I really feel like I've found my village here at Takeda.
Okay, so talent acquisition enablement, a couple of years in, like what's it all about?
Well, it was very new to me when I came into this role. So currently, I'm part of our Talent Acquisition Center of Excellence and Innovation. I report into the head of Global Talent Acquisition for Takeda. And my peers in the COEI cover things such as head of executive recruitment and talent intelligence, talent solutions, and then also employer brand. So we each have our verticals, I like to say, although we certainly cross over into each other's neighborhoods, depending on the day or the topic. So, but TA enablement was new. It was very new to me. I had to do some of my own research to read about it. And I think when I think about TA enablement specific to Takeda, and I know it can be slightly different from organization to organization, depending on how they're structured. Specific to my team, it's having members of my team who support TA enablement specifically for our recruiters, right? So it's really that recruiter enablement, whether it's training, process, tools, technology. We also have centralized TA coordination under my team, which is a very recent move as of April 1st, where previously our coordinators reported into the different talent acquisition teams under a decentralized talent acquisition model. And as you can imagine, that was creating a little bit of a different experience for our candidates who oftentimes apply an interview for multiple positions within Takeda. So there's really the enablement perspective from centralization of TA coordination, which is requisition creation, interview scheduling, offer letter or employment contract generation, and background check administration. And then again, we have really where I spend the bulk of my time is on our recruiter enablement. Again, that's been a little bit challenging in a decentralized model. We also have a mix of in-house team members and then our PO as well. So trying to get everything harmonized, centralized, and rowing the boat in the same direction, I think is challenging at any organization. Easier to do in a centralized model. It's been a bit more challenging here at Takeda.
What are the skills you've had to draw on to, like, as you moved into this role and as you've progressed all of the things that you've been doing in this role? Because it seems like the background knowledge of recruiting will, of course, be very useful. But I think it's probably a different skill set from the skill set that you need to get jobs filled.
It is, I think, certainly having carried a bag and been a recruiter is helpful because I feel like I have a good understanding of the day-to-day and what our teams go through. I've also worked with a number of members of our talent acquisition team, whether they're recruiters, sourcers, TA leadership for the past several years, depending on when they join the organization. So I think there's that immediate trust that they know me as an individual, they know me as a peer, they know I've carried a bag, so they know that I'm not looking to put things into place that will be disruptive to them, that don't make sense, that don't add value. I've experienced that in the past as a recruiter, where whether it's a system or a process just doesn't make sense, and no one took the time or opportunity to speak with the recruiters to really understand their world. It was people who don't recruit doing those things. So I do think, hopefully I brought a lot of value to the team, that they trust and believe if I'm bringing something forward, or I'm requesting their participation in a project for something that we're going to eventually roll out, that I have the relationship with them, and they know that I'm coming from a perspective of really wanting to make their world better and enable them to do what they do for the organization.
You mentioned that there's crossover across like the verticals that the TA leadership team are responsible for. And I think that I can clearly understand how enablement like has got an impact and interface with all of your other colleagues on that. Have you been taking requests for support, or have you been going out actively into the business and going, this is something we could be doing better, and this is something we could do better? What's the dynamic there?
There is never a shortage of to-dos on my list for the global TA community. So I think part of it has been, and I'm in the process right now of adding resources to my team, but we have been a small but mighty team. Really, if I think about it, I've had 3 resources as of recent. One's a university relations coordinator, very specific role that she plays. I have a background checks me. That's the role that she plays, and another individual who's supported me with enablement for our US talent acquisition team. But everything else, and we're talking, this is a global remit, right? This is a company with 52,000 employees. We operate in 80 plus countries. We have, in terms of our talent acquisition team in-house, an RPO just under 300. It's an incredibly small team, and I don't think I'm uniquely different in that. I think if I asked peers in other companies who do the same type of work, probably a similar experience, right? So we have to really prioritize and reprioritize when requests come in. Normally we say, does it impact 3 or more business units or functions, right? And if so, then we take a look at it to say, okay, is this something that needs to be done now, later? I mean, we really have to ask a lot of questions, because I feel like I'm often having to tell people no, and it's disappointing to the teams, but certainly trying to explain the why behind that. I'd like to help them all and check everything off of their request list, but it's a lot of listening that my team does, a lot of listening and connecting with the recruiters and really with TA leadership to understand their needs. But again, it's also about prioritizing and being comfortable saying no, because we just aren't resourced to take on everything.
Well, okay, last question. What I think this might be an overall TA like goal, or it might be specifically for your area in TA enablement. But is the goal mainly focused on getting higher quality candidates coming through the funnel, or is it about reducing time to shortlist, or is it about improving candidate experience, or is there one specific thing, or a small handful of specific things that your efforts are aimed towards?
Absolutely, the experience piece. So it's candidate experience, it's recruiter experience, it's hiring manager experience. I think that is first and foremost one of the things that we focus on. It's absolutely around process and governance, right? We are in a highly regulated industry, and again have to be mindful of the regulations and employment laws across the different countries in which we operate in, and that are ever changing and evolving. That includes, certainly more recently, pay transparency in the U.S., and I know that that's looking to spread globally as well, but making sure that we are compliant and our teams have the appropriate tools and resources to have those conversations. But it's definitely the experience. I think everything from there will follow. I think having the appropriate type of training, I think quality of candidates, right? Quality of hire. We do look at time to fill, number of days opened. We absolutely look at all of those metrics, but the experience is first and foremost, because even we know for candidates that we ultimately maybe don't choose for a position, they could likely be a silver medalist, right? So when you decline a candidate for an opportunity, but say, hey, we really had, great interest in you for other opportunities, and the candidate feels that they've been treated with respect, right? Then they continue to keep Takeda in mind and perhaps refer others to the organization.
Wonderful. Kate, as you know, I have got a deep interest in this subject and I could ask you about it all day, but of your time. So thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us about it. And I know people are going to find this really valuable.
Very good. Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Adam, for having me. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.